Okay. All right, so last time when I was on this, I was working on a basically a language transpiler for Pascal to .NET to C#, and it's a WPF app that I wrote, and I've been wanting to transfer it to a Blazor app, and made good progress so far. I got a so there's the C# code that it gets translated to. So I'm using Ace little code editor here to do the to give me this nice syntax highlighting, similar to what I had in the WPF app. I also have like build information as far as what's going on. If I do a write line here, should get output. Yep, that is working. If I get errors, they show up there. They tell me the line that the error is happening on. In this case, line 3. There's a couple errors in here. So anyway, so the next couple things, the next thing I want to do is to be able to select examples. So I've added a function. I'm doing this a lot of JavaScript interlop to get this interactions to work. So I have my Ace editor. I'm setting up the editor and setting a theme and setting it to use Pascal. On change, I'm sending a command or a method to my C# code. So in my razor.cs, let's see what we got here. Editor change. So I'm passing in the code in my editor to be compiled. And this is actually being called on anytime the session, which is essentially anytime I make a change in the code, it's telling me the editor changed. And then in Razor, it's compiling. So the next thing I want to do is I want to be able to change the contents of this editor. So the next thing would be to maybe have like a combo box of some kind that I can select different options to use. So if we have a handy dandy list of, well, technically we probably want to give these a name. I wonder if dictionary would be a good case for this. Probably just make a class. You know what? I want to try dictionary. I actually curious to see if that's gonna work. So if we have a dictionary of a name of the program, that the example. And then, so we'll just call this examples. Okay, so we got a dictionary of examples. And let's, on initialize, right here, let's populate that examples. So let's add a new example called Hello World. And in that, we'll put a program. Do program begin, end, and then write line. Hello world. There's our example program. Okay. So I think then what we can do here is add another row up here to class row, do a column, and I think we'll just do a select. And the select will have, let's see. So trying to think of how this, what label, I think. So now we'll have a for each loop examples. We'll put in an option. And we'll just put the key in there. Let's see if that works. That worked perfectly. Okay. So the next thing is to there might be some cool stuff that we can do. Okay. So on change, looks like is what we want. So let's add a on change. Selected example changed. That sounds fantastic. And it's not going to find it. Let's public void selected example changed. Okay. So I have a value. Cool. Okay. So when this gets called, I want to call first thing, well, I want to compile the changes. So that's probably the last step I want to do. And toString here. The next thing I want to do is call my JavaScript function. So set editor value. So I should have a JS runtime. And invoke void async. Set editor value, I think is what I called it. args.value. Okay. And we'll want to await that. Okay. So with that set up, I think that will give us an option, but it's what we really need to do now is then add a second option that we can choose from. Maybe just call this simple program, which just does nothing. It's just empty. I realize that I made a mistake here. There we go. Got to give the program a name, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay. So with that, we can do program test begin end. I think that's the most basic program that you can have. Okay. So that is working. And it is updating and all that. We just need to grab the key and use the key instead. So on this, we're going to get value equal examples. And we're going to use the value to get the program. Okay. And make that to string. Good, good, good. Okay. The other thing is we might as well call can we call selected example change to go ahead and give us we'll just grab the first one. But let's do that after we set up the editor. So after we set up the editor on first render, we're going to grab the first item from our list and set that as the content. Okay. I need to add some semicolons. For some reason this didn't work. Let me make that a task. Excuse me. Okay. So with that, now we got we are getting the able to change the program based on a list of programs that we have as examples. Put the semicolon there. I think after this, there's really not that much left to do. Hopefully, I want to change some of these colors. The goal of this is I'm using CSS to edit these. So technically, I should be able to just edit the CSS when I want to make it match my site. Okay. So that is working beautifully right there. I think it looks good. And then you can see the output, the build, and I want to get rid of that message that if there is no errors, then it's not gonna, it just doesn't show anything. So that actually simplifies a lot of this. Just list the errors out. That's all I need. Boom. Okay. The other thing that's not working, so there's one thing that's not working is when we're getting the first item, this doesn't seem to be working. So let's see what's going on. Got an error. Uh-oh. Oh. Of course. I need to give it the key. I gave it the whole object. So of course that didn't work. Okay. So this should be present in the dictionary. Beautiful. That looks fantastic. Okay. So let's do a math example, just add a math example, and then we can always go and update the site later, or add more examples as we do later. So program math begin, and there's our basic program. The other thing we'll need is we'll do some variables. So we'll do var a, b, c, integer. And what we can do is a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, c is equal to 30. And then we'll right line a plus c minus b. Let's do something like that. I think that should work. We'll see. I'm not sure if I've actually implemented all the I think I've implemented all the mathematical functions, but perhaps I haven't. So it's complaining that I don't have on line 3. Really, it meant line 2. And the C# code looks good too. Okay. That is working beautifully. And we can see the abstract syntax tree. See what that looks like. I probably don't want it to push everything down, so that may be some stuff we'll need to change. But I got really simple stuff here. Let me go ahead and add the semicolon. And I think we got that. Let me mess with my setup real quick. Okay. Alright, so now we have this set up. I'm going to go ahead and commit the code. I added examples, and I think that's pretty much what I did. So I just added examples. I realize now that this is moving my mic. It's making a weird noise. Okay. I think I got it. Alright. So we'll push that code up. And I think the next thing would be changing some of the views, some of the style of this page. So we have nav items, and the color of the nav items is blue. I think that's actually because of this A reference. I think A references are blue. So going off a hunch here, I think if I just change this color to white for fun, that should change it. And it did. Well, on hover, I needed to change that too. That is looking good. Good deal. Okay. So on hover, maybe I just want to reverse. Seems like a good way to do things sometimes. So this will become black, and the background color will become white. Okay. Oh man, that looks good. I like it. Okay. The other thing is I want to make this scrollable. So I would like to also add syntax highlighting to this. I probably won't do that at the moment. I might just leave it like this. I do want to change that. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. What can we style? So we have a tab content, and tab pane. So maybe we would set, so let's do, was it tab dash pane? And I don't know how should we do this? So we could, I think if you set the height to 100%, that'll take up all the space. I'm curious what that will do. It probably already is at 100%, but let's take a look. Gonna make that go away. Okay. All right, so we do this and take a look at the tree. Okay, so it looks like that didn't make a difference. That's kind of what I've expected to happen. But the other thing is perhaps we would set the, I think it's overflow. On overflow, we want to scroll. We may have to set a height here to get that to work. Which I don't think is too big of a deal. Okay, so yeah, we'll need to set a height to do that. So let's just go ahead and set some arbitrary height for now. And see what that does. Okay, so let me bring this over here. So that did what I wanted it to do. The only thing is now we have an arbitrary height. So what we can do here, I think, is if we do view VH, view height, then we can essentially set it to say we want this to be 50% of the screen or something like that. Because that's probably about right. And hey, it worked here too, so automatically adjusted that. So let's go ahead and set that to be 50 view H. Or, yeah, view height. VH view height. Okay. This is all right. I think I want to style this. I kind of want this to go over on this side. So maybe I'll give that a name. So we have the example list, the editor. That has an ID that I can go by. So on here, I'm not sure if I want that to be associated with the column. So I might put this in another div and then call this right tab. So this would allow us to edit this tab. Next thing is to do this one. Class bottom dash tab. Okay. All right, so now we should be able to style this. Can I just put this over here and pull out some CSS? So I have so for the tapping, I'm not sure if it's taking up all the width, but let's just go ahead and make sure it's doing that. Okay. We have a right dash tab, and which we can style. And let's say we want this to align content end. Let's see what that does. Doesn't seem to be doing anything. I want this to act like it's attached to the right side, and then this takes up the rest of the space. So I think to do that, I think I have to set that column as auto. So I have my right tab here. That comes in handy. So I'll just say this is auto, and I want that to take up the rest of the space that doesn't use. So I'll hit F5. Okay, that is a little bit nicer. I'll have to look up Bootstrap grid. Okay, grid system. Make sure I'm on the latest version. And let's go ahead and go to layout, grid. So I want to align my grid to the right. So which one is that? Horizontal alignment. That is exactly what I need. All right, justify content. So this example here is kind of what I want. Well, oh, so you set it on the row. What I really want to happen, justify content between. Perhaps what I need to do and maybe I need to do that too. The guiders between columns are predefined classes. So I might try that. Okay, so I'm gonna remove my container here and do no gutter. No dash gutters. And I'm going to make this m dash 8 and then make this m dash 4, I think. That should take up all the space, and I think that should push it all the way to the end and make it look nice. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. that looks good. So, oh yeah, that's great. Okay. So the one last thing is dealing with this monstrosity. So perhaps what I want to do is maybe to put like a break here to make that more obvious, or maybe make this kind of continuously extend all the way down and not be limited by the row it's in. So how would I do that? What I could do is say, so we got a row here and then a row here. And I could say that this is a column and then this is a column. So with that, what we could do is I got this right tab, and then I have this column with the editor in it. So what I could do is keep this the same, but put this bottom tab, which is so nicely wrapped in a div, take that and put that here with the editor. What that should do is that should allow the other tab to take up all that space. Because really I don't need a lot of space on those tabs. Oh yeah, okay, that is perfect. And then this has a little scrollable thingamadilly. And yeah, that is great. Okay. This is exactly what I was looking for. So the next thing I can do is I do want to add a little bit of padding, just a little bit, around this whole thing. So I'm going to take a div, put it around this whole thing, and give it a class. Okay. And let's call this main. The main, we're just going to add a margin. Can I do 1% margin? That way it sizes just a little bit. That is perfect. Okay. I think we got the editor. Might add a, since I'm doing this thing here, I might add padding to these tab panes. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. So I'm going to add a padding. Let's just do 1%. That seems to be a good number. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. That's better. Okay. So the other thing, what we could do here, I think I'll call it good for that. We could add syntax highlighting here. We could change this up a little bit and change the theme, but I'll just leave it like that for now. There's actually a lot of stuff in here. For example, these are all the different modes. We don't actually really need all these, but so I think I can get rid of these modes. So let's go ahead and do that. I also don't need the snippets either. I don't think there even is probably a Pascal snippet. Oh, there is a Pascal snippet. So I can, and this is all my source code, so I could just delete. Yep, get rid of it. I should have done this outside of Visual Studio. I made a terrible mistake. All right, so this is going to take a little bit. I definitely should have just pulled up. I should have just done it in here. Oh, well, okay. So that did stuff. Let me go ahead and just do it from here. So I got Pascal. I don't need any of this. All I need is Pascal. I could use C#, so maybe I might do that. Let me undo this one. Yep. So we have C#. There is so much stuff that I don't need. I don't know about these extensions, but I do know that these modes I don't need. Go all the way to Pascal. Delete these. So we got C# and Pascal. And get rid of all these modes. I'll probably keep those in there. I don't know if I need any of these either. These workers. Okay. Let's go ahead and make sure that runs. And it looks like it is working beautifully. It's pretty performant. Showing me the output, build, abstract syntax tree. It looks like that's all working. So go ahead and submit this code. I'll probably do this in stages. So can I stage this? Yes. Stage that commit and say removed unused libraries. Stage that commit, and then just improve the layout, that's all. Okay. So the next step is publishing. Okay. So I have a website that I'm going to publish this on, and if you've ever, so this is a GitHub page website, and if you've ever tried to host Blazor with GitHub pages, you probably know you have to turn off Jekyll in order to do that. Well, there is a way around it, and that's exactly what I did, is made a way where you can use Jekyll and still embed your Blazor site wherever you want onto the site. And it's quite a workaround, honestly. I'll probably create a post about it or something like that. That has been something I found to be really fascinating. But yeah, this has worked out pretty well. So taking a app that could only run on the desktop, and now it can run on Blazor. So, and honestly, I did have a little bit of trouble getting it to work at first, and took quite a bit to just kind of, learning something new. You got to learn how to interlock with JavaScript and stuff like that, but not too bad. So we can go ahead and publish this, and we're going to use the code that we publish. Just publish to a folder. Doesn't really matter. And yeah, that looks good to me. And then just Boom. Surprisingly, there's actually not a lot, out of everything that gets published, there's really not a lot of files you actually need. It tends to publish a whole lot more than you actually need. Let's go ahead and get the start site running. So execute Jekyll serve. Okay. And I believe this has been done. We got a nice little link here. We can click on that. We got this www root. And oh, this actually is better than used to be, that it would publish all the DLLs in here too. So that's good. Okay. So really, we don't need this sample data. I'm just going to delete it. We don't need the icon. This is pretty much all we need. I actually don't need Bootstrap either, but I'll worry about that in a sec. So everything else is set up, and the index shouldn't have that much in it. Yep, should be pretty simple. Actually, I don't need the Bootstrap, right? Because I'm not even using the Bootstrap. So let me actually go in here and go ahead and just do that. I'm not using any of this. I don't care. Get rid of that. Delete. Only bad thing about Blazor is it's just bloated with full of stuff. And I don't know if there's maybe there is like an empty, like make an empty Blazor app, because that would be pretty nice. Granted, most people are building entire apps with it. I'm just using it to take one page and embed it onto a site. So I think I might go ahead and double check that this runs. And man, that's a lot of code changes. That actually seemed to be a little bit, maybe it's just me, maybe that did seem a little bit faster. Okay, cool. Alrighty then. Alright, so just for sake of sanity, I'm just gonna go and republish that. And this site is running. Let's take a look at the site. That doesn't, there we go. Okay. So I believe I already have a page for this. Pascal.net. Okay, so I have, just simple stuff here. So one of the fun things about Blazor is it's really, I couldn't get it to run in a separate location from where its JavaScript files are. So what I actually do is on a post, I have another Blazor app right here for Xamarin Templates, is one of my other projects I've done, and I essentially set the permalink to wherever the JavaScript files are. So that way these just, they don't have to go anywhere special. They just go there directly. So the trick here is just take the Pascal compiler, post, and set a permalink to it. And we're going to change this to Blazor / let's call it Pascal. That sounds convenient. Xamarin Templates. Okay. And yeah, so kind of a similar thing. Wait, did I have a thing at the end? Yeah. I don't know if that matters, honestly. So this should break, and it does. So if we go to Pascal.net, it goes to Blazor / Pascal, and everything works for now. So the next step is we're going to have to open this up. It's much easier to just work in the File Explorer. So we're going to create a new folder, call it Pascal, and this is where our stuff will go into. So we're going to go to www.root. www.root, yep, okay. And we're just going to steal this and put it here. Okay. I don't need that. Get rid of it. Okay. I don't need that either. Okay, so eventually I'm gonna go ahead and push this and call it added Pascal. I like being able to have this history here because now what we're gonna do is essentially copy this index file, and we can do that in here. So we have our Pascal program we're working with, and we're going to go to Blazor, Pascal, index, because eventually we're going to delete this index actually. So really the things that matter here, because we already have Bootstrap, so we don't need that, we don't need that. CDNJS, we don't need that, don't need that. I don't think you need the base ref. I don't remember. Does ML templates do anything with that? No, I don't think it does. I don't think that actually matters in this particular case. Sometimes it does. So we just get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay. So this is sort of laying out how we'll embed this. So this is pretty much what it is. Okay. So we'll just steal this and put this in our Pascal program. Okay, like that. Okay. So, with that changed, we are going to delete this. Say, delete it. Okay. All right, moment of truth. Let's see what happens. Oh, it worked perfectly. We got Blazor embedded. Okay. That took actually it took a while for me to get that to work and to figure it out, but that is working perfectly, and it's picking up my styling. I could actually edit the styles and change them to whatever I need to, so that's something I'll do. Some little gotchas as far as setting this up is, and it all depends on where you're hosting, but like with Jekyll, one of the issues I ran into was this include. So you want to make sure you include the framework folder and the bin folder. So if you put this in your Jekyll config, then it will ensure that Jekyll will compile or copy these folders over to be included into the site. So with that, man, that just worked flawlessly. So we got this little program embedded into our site, and it looks like it's running pretty well. So the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit my little tags here. So the category is project, but I'm going to add a tag, tags, and add interactable. And I might need to add some explanation. So maybe put an H1 here, or yeah, star. Okay. With that. Okay, that's not bad. Cool. All right, well, I think that's pretty much all there is to it. So took a WPF app, styled it, and converted it to run in the browser. Honestly, I wonder if building the WPF app was actually more difficult. Begin. Certainly this setting this up, these tabs and all that, wasn't near as difficult, but being able to run it anywhere, that's a pretty powerful thing to have. And this WPF also has hot reload and all that too, but I'm sure Blazor will get there. So yeah, overall, I think this was a pretty neat experience. I'm definitely can use this video to try to find gotchas and stuff like that as far as doing the next one. So all right, I'll leave it at that.